Hello, guys. Welcome back to Brands, Business, and Boundaries. All right, it's another Thursday co working session just wrapped up. And if you missed it, I'm so sorry, but you can join us next week down to the TikTok on Thursdays from 12 to 2 p.m. Eastern. Okay, my name is Eastern, yes. My name is Shekinah. I am the host of the Let's Talk Sis podcast.
And hello, my name is Kimberland, and I live in the world of minding my black ass business.
Whoop de whoop woo woo woo.
And whoop de doo.
Okay, so as I said, we just finished the co-working session, so I was able to confirm that actually my link tree is pretty decently set up. I'm sure there's probably literally just thought about this. Duh, I need to put my girls' night in stuff on there. I knew it was something I was forgetting, but it does have all my socials and stuff on there, so that's good. I can add that. I was able to kind of map out the skits that I want to do in terms of like who's in there and like what they're wearing so I can start wrapping my mind around that. And then I finished writing my little blurb on the black butterfly, which I'm going to read before we get into our discussion today. So what did oh, and Ayana in
Okay.
the chat was working on some marketing flyers for her bakery business, so she was able to get 1 point. Why did my brain just do that? 1.75 flyers done. Jesus.
Okay.
Had a brain glitch
All
like
right.
crazy. So she got some
You
work
too young
done.
for that
No, for
now.
real. It's been a long time since I done converted percentages into decimals. So I was like, but it's literally
Got you.
just. Anywho, what did you get done, Kimberly?
The math was acting crazy.
Yeah.
So I'm bringing back my podcast Gathered, where I talk to different people who are out here doing movement work, and we discuss how we are taking care of ourselves in that and what that work looks like, because it looks so different in so many different ways, and so exposing people to people that are in my universe and people that I've come across. So I said all that to say I got an episode that I have to record tomorrow, so I was making sure that it is fully produced and I have everything ready to be able to have that conversation.
Love it. I don't doubt that it'll be a wonderful conversation and that you got your notes together because that's what you do, boo.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes, I do.
Okay, so before we get into our BBB conversation, if you're in the chat, if you're watching this on
Mm-hmm.
the replay, drop some bubbles in the chat. Drop the orange book in the chat. Those are our official program emojis. Okay, so again, bubbles in the orange book. Drop those in the chat. Okay, so let me share something. I was just walking on my little walk yesterday and this was on my heart. So I wrote this and then I'll share what I want us to talk. I'll read this and then I'll share what I want us to talk about. Okay. It says, I seen the butterfly today. It was black, like what we see when there is no life left. Death. This butterfly, however, was not dead, very much alive, and it was beautiful, one with the wind. It made me think, as I am on a never ending journey to finding the meaning to life, what is this butterfly trying to teach me? This is the third time I've seen it today. Then I realized that the butterfly was once a caterpillar, not always able to fly. It hasn't always been able to fly above and embrace a higher point of view. Once, when they were a caterpillar, they were grounded, bound to travel amongst the earth, praying daily not to be crushed, to be seen, to be respected, and as essential, to be respected as an essential being in the ecosystem. Then one day, there on the ground, in the mud, navigating through the sticks, the caterpillar decides, today is the last day I will be like this. They decide they are willing to give up their very nature and way of being to find a safe, excuse me, and they're willing to give up their very nature and way of being. They find a safe and reliable space to undergo a metamorphosis, a total and complete transformation. A transformation coupled with a direct order to embrace an entirely new POV. Now they fully emerge a new and the new butterfly must lose everything. They the way they once moved, the things they once needed, the life they once lived, gone, buried, no longer, dead. And yet, the butterfly is blessed by this death and ushered into a new life. The butterfly reappears unapologetic for its absence while in their chrysalis. They lean into their new bodies, the new needs, the roles that they now play in the ecosystem, carrying with them fully the lives that they lived as a caterpillar. They honor it and respect it. They understand that they cannot and will not ever go back. The butterfly knows it cannot apologize for no longer being a caterpillar, and they refuse to hide their newfound wings. There is no shame in their ability to cover more ground faster, easier, and with grace. So, yes, Black and Death share similar stories. However, there is life that comes from darkness. There are worlds formed from voids. There are butterflies birthed from chrysalises, black and transformational. Because, as I have been reminded for the third time today, even black butterflies dare to take up space. Period. So,
That was beautiful. And I know you want to just move past that, but we're not gonna be able to. That was really, really beautiful. That was really beautiful. And
thank you.
it's something I've been not studying with intention, but as information that continues to come in my direction, especially as we work with the butterfly and found her future and everything. Um, about how that transformation takes place. And so I really appreciated how you characterize that and captured, most importantly, I think the thing that stuck out is the knowing that you can't go back to what was before, and embracing, this is it, this is me, these are my wings, this is who I am, this is, I'm not going to be that person ever again, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That was really nice, thank you for sharing that. I can also see that being read at the chrysalis, so okay.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you, thank you. And same, I wanted to. I was in. I was holding with my in my heart when writing that the thought around grief, honestly, and the thought around you can't go back, and
Mm-hmm.
not everybody is has gone through their transformation,
Mm-hmm.
and no matter how hard I try, you're never going to see this thing from my point of view. And so what I wanted us to have a conversation around is a lot of times we are the first in our families, in our circles, in our crew to embrace a higher point of view, a different point of view, to go through our transformation, to emerge from our chrysalis. And it comes with this duality of grief and life, because I am flying, I am one with the wind, I can get there so much faster and easier and in a new way, right? But you are, and I don't mean higher and lower, but for the purposes of this analogy, you are still down in the mud and you have not experienced the things that I have experienced in the things. So like, I just wanted to have a conversation around that because as we're building our brands, our business, and especially as we incorporate our boundaries, we are going to start to see that separation more and more. And so, like, what do we do? How do we embrace it? Because we cannot go back. We can't. Even if we wanted to, we will never be able to go back and be the same before our
Hmm.
transformation. So,
Yeah. Grief is real. It is so real, and it is so um it is a part of life, and it's also something that I think we don't spend enough time talking about because we don't want to feel, what comes with grief. It's like I just rather focus on the positive things or just not think about it, but not thinking about it doesn't make it go away. It's still
mm-hmm.
here. And a lot of times when we think about grief, we think about it in the sense of a death, like a physical death. But grief is really just loss. It is honoring the loss of something, and whether that be the loss of friendships, the loss of relationships, the loss of a life you once thought that you were going to lead, the loss of your body,
Yeah.
the loss of your memory. Like,
Yes.
like
Yes.
grief is something, it's a natural part of life and something that we all have to learn how to process. And so, thinking about grief in the space of what happens when we're making a transformation brings a complexity of feelings because, like you said, like there's the yay, like I'm seeing and I'm flying, and look at, I'm a butterfly, right? But also, um, that means that there are caterpillars that have not
Mm-hmm.
yet been able to experience what you may be experiencing. And so the life of a trailblazer and someone who is going before others can feel very lonely. Especially one of the things that I learned about butterflies and caterpillars is that caterpillars have the DNA for the butterfly wings
Mm.
within them when they are caterpillars. And then once they go into the chrysalis to make the transformation, the entire caterpillar turns into goo.
Yes.
And
It's
then the
gone.
wings
Yeah.
emerge, right? It's completely like
Mm-hmm.
I am that no more
Dissolved.
at all.
Yeah.
Done. It's
Yes.
gone. Um, and that is very much what we experience as we're going through the process of like meeting ourselves and understanding ourselves. Is like this idea of who we were that was created by systems and people and whatever's circumstances surrounded that. All of that kind of starts to dissolve, and we then are like, no, this is actually who I am and what I'm supposed to be doing. So then, being the only one that's in the chrysalis, right? You're the only
Mm-hmm.
one that got that information. Okay, now you got your wings and you out here
Ugh.
flying, but where are the rest of the butterflies? I gotta go, I gotta find them, I gotta attract them, I gotta be where butterflies is at so that I can find the people that actually understand what I've been through. And so I feel like that is when you're the first one to go through that, it feels like there is no guidebook. There's not like I'm just out here winging it on my own. When the truth
Literally.
is, there are many though who have gone before us. And so I think something that has helped me with the grief of leaving people, places, and things behind, especially being someone who lives in a completely different country by myself,
Right.
and away from family, is that I'm not the only one who's on this journey. And so if I can be intentional in putting my space, my plate, putting myself in spaces and places where other butterflies are, that I will feel seen. And together, then we're able to create the pathway for other caterpillars to follow. Because eventually, the goal is for all of us to be able to operate in purpose and to really, understand who we are and live in who we are. That happens at different times. you know um
Mhm.
but there are going to be people that are coming behind us that are then saying, all right, now I got to go make this transition from a caterpillar to a butterfly. How do I do that? So I think for me, my grief has helped because I know that though I may not have necessarily had the guidance or the guidebook, that I do have the ability to leave the guidance and the guidebook for others. And I have the ability to be able to find the people that are already further along on the path than I am, to
Mhm.
be able to soak in their wisdom so that it doesn't feel like I'm navigating it all by myself.
Mhm. Mhm. I a part of what I said in there is something like one day the caterpillar amongst the sticks in the mud like decides that, and I'm sure there's a more scientific backing to that. But essentially, one day they are a caterpillar and the next day they are in a
Mhm.
chrysalis. And for me, balancing the grief is knowing that it is in an internal decision. I can't pick up any old caterpillar and put him in a chrysalis. Like I can't do that, right?
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
All I can do is continue to embrace who I am, how I am, and be ready, like you're saying, when they are ready to, and it's also there's also grief because there are some caterpillars who are babies, right? And they don't know yet. They don't have the resources, wherewithal, whatever yet. And they are still, unfortunately, in a system and in family and relationships that is not good for them, right? And not healthy. And it is extremely sad. And there is this part of you that's like, well, I want to help everybody, I want everybody to be on the other side of this thing, but I don't know that it gets any easier. I don't know that it gets any better, but there's a certain level of faith and trusting that you have to have, that like you said, God created this caterpillar with everything it needs to become everything it's going to become.
Mhm.
And we
Mhm.
just have to trust the system, trust the process, trust the creator and its
Mhm.
creation.
Mhm.
That all will be as it should. So,
Mhm.
again, it don't make it any easier, but that's how I
Yeah.
swallow the pill, if you will.
Mhm. Mhm. And I'll add to that, like when we talk about decides, I think the decision is to honor what is already predetermined.
Right.
Right. I don't know if
Mhm.
you've ever met people where they've been like, I'm running from my calling. Like they be
Mhm.
actively
Mm.
knowing I'm
Mm.
supposed to be doing this. I am actively running in the other direction.
Uh.
And I've met people that have said that to me before. And so the decision is that I'm going to go where is already predetermined.
Yeah.
Or I can keep fighting against that, and I can keep running around in circles, and I can keep doing all these things, and I can keep, being a caterpillar, and I can, but also one day though, it's gonna be
It's gonna
time.
happen.
So I'm either going to go find a safe space and get this chrysalis popping, or I'm about to wander into traffic or under somebody's
Okay.
foot. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's time, you know?
Yes.
And so the decisions that we even have to make with ourselves is honoring that it's time, but then also honoring that everybody else also has a
It's
time.
that
And
time.
I cannot fast forward your time.
Yeah.
I really believe that our spirits chose our lives before we got here. And our spirits saw the whole vision of what our life was going to be and said, yeah, let me go ahead on down there and do that. Knowing the highs, the lows, the in betweens, all the things that were going to happen, I'm going to choose that. Everybody else's spirit also did that.
Mhm.
So we have to accept that our role may be, and it's really like the I don't know if this is the parable of the sower because I haven't read it yet. But if you think about plants, like somebody plants the seed, there's a water, there's a fertilize, there's a tend to, like there's a whole process that happens for a seed to grow. And so we may be coming across somebody when they're just in their seed phase, and we got to accept that's the role that I played. I wasn't meant to stay here and till the soil and pull the weeds and water the things. I was literally meant to plant this seed. And now I have to trust that God is going to do the rest, because ultimately it's not up to you or I anyway. We are literally just people alone in intersecting universes that are weaving in and out of each other's lives. And there are times where a universe may intersect and it creates this catapult, and there are times where it might just be like ting, and you don't see anything, but after a while that starts to mature and grow. And so I feel like our job really is to learn how to accept what our role is, but then also to release that outcome, and allow that person to be on their own journey. Because if we try to fast forward their journey, we try to drag them, we try to pull them, we try to force all these things, they're
It's
not
not gonna
going
be
to be
right.
ready.
They're gonna come out with
They're
one
not going
wing
to be ready.
missing.
They're going to come out with one wing. They're not going to come out at all. You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to be right. So we
Yes.
have to know I am not controlling your destiny. Like I am assigned to say this, show this, do this, and that is my assignment.
That's it, big
Mission
dog.
complete. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And I think that will also help us to be able to free ourselves from some of there's guilt that's involved in this grief process, especially when you may feel like you're leaving people behind. There's frustration, as I want you to see it, I see it and you can't see it, come on, let's just see it together. And they're like, like we kind of have to allow all of that to happen, knowing we are all on our independent journeys, and we're all going
Yeah.
to get to where we're supposed to get when God wants us to get there.
That part. And the last thing I want to uplift is that the chrysalis is dark, right? It's not this
And lonely.
roomy, yeah, it's not this roomy, like spacious, well lit, clear cut party situation. It's you, yourself, and you. And all your gunk and your old shit and your old thoughts and your old ways, and it is when you have fully shed that and it is dissolved and it is no longer identifiable with you, that you emerge and see the light. And so I wanted to uplift that as well, because a lot of times caterpillars or people who haven't gone through their process see a butterfly and you see, it's flying, it's doing all these things, it's so lovely up there, but there's no credit given to the work that was done alone, in the dark, hanging on the edge of a tree.
Yeah.
Like,
Facts.
hoping and praying that an eagle, a squirrel, or something don't come and knock
Yeah.
your shit off its rocker completely.
Yeah.
That you shored up your foundation well enough that you can go through this insulated situation and come out alive.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's really good. I don't even have anything to add. That's really good. Yeah. That's it.
So let us know in the comments, where you guys are on your caterpillar to butterfly process. And there is absolutely no shame in any stage of it all. Is simply, simply a metaphor, an analogy for life. And if you are watching this, you have a life, and we all are going through it. So, thank y'all for listening to
Prayerfully,
Brands, prayerfully. Okay. Thank y'all for listening to Brands, Business, and Boundaries. My name is Shekinah.
And I'm Kimberland.
See y'all back here next week. Bye.
Bye, y'all.